Hello, everyone. We are back and we have got a big chit chat to have with you today about the new moon solar eclipse in Aries cycle. And how are you, Babula, by the way?
I'm great. I'm feeling really energized by all this Aries energy.
Oh, well, good for you. I'm a bit exhausted, but anyway. But April is a pivotal month of the year, or astrologically speaking, with the total solar eclipse in Aries and the Jupiter conjunction of Uranus and Taurus. And it's got astrologers and many other groups following it closely. And I've seen, particularly the eclipse, which is also being followed by religious groups and prophecy watchers. And some of the descriptions from the podcasts that I've seen include statements like, it's a storm of transformation, embrace for yourselves for the cosmic drama, shock waves going all on Earth, tumultuous period of celestial storms. And I'm thinking, my goodness, this is just too scary for some people to, it's scaring people, put it that way, for some people.
Mm.
And while it might well be, there might well be risky cosmic forces at work, I think it's just a little bit too much fear. So should people really be that concerned, Babula?
No, and it's a great question and a great thing to talk about and to open with, because you're absolutely right. I'm the same, every astrologer on the planet's got their eyes on this, and for good reason. It is, eclipses are always important. Every 6 months there's lunar and solar eclipses, and they're always important, and different eclipses trigger things in different people's charts at different times, and we can look back through our life and we go, oh, that was the year so this happened and that was the year that eclipse hit my chart. But this one has a really big impact. But I'm with you. I'm not into the fear-mongering aspect of it, and some of it's just kind of blown all out of proportion. But nonetheless, it is a really important eclipse for a lot of different reasons. Just the fact that it's in Aries is one point of it, because in Aries is such a fiery sign and such a dynamic a sign.
Yeah.
But as probably anybody watching this is going to have read things, probably many things about the eclipse by now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So let's sort of keep talking about that issue, because my own view, having listened to lots of people share different thoughts and so on about it, as we all have, and just feeling into it myself, I'm firmly in the camp of it's an internal job, and that we need to keep our focus on the day of the eclipse. For us here in Queensland, it'll be around 4:30 in the morning. States, I think daylight savings ends quite soon, but I can't remember exactly. So if they've still got daylight savings, it'll be like 5:30 in the morning. I'm actually going to get up and I'm going to just sit and meditate for a while and just be quiet. And I'm going to be fairly quiet that day. And I want to just spend some time in nature, just going for a walk. I live near a beautiful lake and sit by the lake and just have some quiet. Although we're talking about Aries, there's so much going on in Aries. Will all that Aries energy even let us be quiet? I don't know.
I feel like we're quiet. That's not going to happen.
And that's why I kind of feel like, I just want to go for a long walk in somewhere beautiful in nature, actually to move my body, but just to be still here with myself, And, I'm not in the camp. If I was in America, I wouldn't be rushing off to that line and gazing up at the sky and having parties. No, I wouldn't be doing that. That's just not because I think it is a really, really important and pivotal eclipse for many, many reasons. And there are prophecies, there are, Indigenous elders and so on, with many prophecies that this eclipse is extremely important and pivotal. Yeah. And a great opportunity for humanity to break free of the matrix of control, that's been held over this planet for so long.
I think it just, in one way, it brings attention to our own fears about change and transformation, that because really that's what eclipses do. They change, they can change things. And some people don't like change,
That's right. But if we look at the times we're currently living in, particularly in the last 4 years,
and
it's accelerating. Everyone knows this. I mean, everywhere you go, everyone said, oh my God, like every single day there's just so much going on, both in our personal experience, but also, on the world stage. It's just really non-stop and pardon me, moving very quickly. And of course, in Aries, everything moves very fast. If you think of all the Aries people we know, like even babies who were born with Aries rising. I know so many people who have Aries rising who had a really quick mother barely made it to hospital if she did make it. It's just, okay, let's go. Let's get on with it.
Yep. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It all happens very quickly. Yeah.
Not messing around. So,
yeah, it's like, I'm here, where's the party? Like,
let's get on with it. I've got things to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so much. I can feel myself speeding up even as I'm talking. There's just so much we could say about all of this.
Actually, that would be a great meme, with when they're born, or babies being born. With Sagittarius would be, I'm here, where's the party?
That's exactly right.
Here, where's action?
Where's the action? That's right. Where's the battle? Let me at it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So
yeah. So well, let's start with this lunar cycle and talk a little bit more about those as we go through.
Okay, so let's actually look at the astrology, the actual astrology of the lunar eclipse, and this will make you smile. This is my chart, my printout of the actual solar eclipse, with me, scribbling all over it, making notes and so on. I mean, that's kind of what we're in right now. And you see, I've actually circled like there's all these conjunctions and this incredible gathering of planets just in Pisces, Aries, and Taurus. In virtually all the planets except Pluto is not that far away. They're all here. Section of the sky, which is in itself is absolutely extraordinary.
Fascinating.
And with that, it's a very complex, concentrated, intense package of energy. And for those who have a chart and know their chart, just look at what area of your chart that gathering sits in. Like, you imagine children being born right now with this. That's extraordinary. So, where is Pisces, Aries, and Taurus in your chart? Like, for me, it's in that top right-hand sector, the 7th, 8th, and 9th house. So that's the area of my chart and my life and my reality that's getting absolutely focused on. So I just got where do I start? So the eclipse itself, let's look at that. So for we here in Queensland, Tuesday morning, the 9th of April, if you're watching American podcasts, and there's a lot of them, they're all speaking about the 8th. But here in Australia, in the eastern, well, in all of Australia, it's on the morning of the 9th.
Yeah.
In Perth, of course, it's a couple of hours earlier. My brain's fried for the moment. Yes, earlier. It's earlier. And about 3 hours earlier. 4:20 a.m. in the morning on Tuesday morning, for those who want to perhaps be present with this moment, or you may choose to sleep. Nothing absolutely wrong with that. I often sleep through things like this because I just go, I'd rather sleep.
Yes.
It's early in the morning, but I'm actually going to get up for this one. One thing to say about it, which many of you will have already heard, is that one of the things that's unusual and important about it is that it's very long lasting. It's a total eclipse. meaning extra potency and significance. It's lasting for about 4.5 minutes. That means that when the moon passes between the earth and the sun, and from our point of view on earth here, it's going to be, the moon will come through and completely block out the light of the sun, because it's the alignment of sun, moon, earth is so perfect that it's a total block out. And instead of it being 1.5 to 2 minutes, which is normal, it's going to be for 4.5 minutes. So so there's going to be the blocking out of the sun and the sunlight for a whole 4.5 minutes along the eclipse line. Many of you watching this will have seen the map. If you haven't yet and you want to, just jump online and Google, the North American Solar Eclipse 2024 map, and you'll see it. It goes through Mexico, up through Texas, and then it curves across to the northeast.
Okay, and now up through Canada.
Yeah, the southern sort of eastern tip of Canada. So that's extremely important, is the location of this eclipse. That means that the people living across that line will be able to see it if they so wish, and many will, because it is a pretty spectacular astronomical event.
Yeah.
There are long traditions in many cultures and traditions that say do not watch a solar eclipse. Just withdraw and bring your energy inward. Others say, doesn't matter, if you want to watch it, watch it. So that's for everyone to, decide. But here in Australia, it won't matter because we won't actually see it. So it's very long. It's at 19 degrees of Aries, right in the middle of the sign of Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's all about birth and new beginnings. And if you think about anything that's just begun, a project, a business, a baby's just been born, a seed has just burst open and the little seedling pops through, it takes a lot of energy. There's a lot of life force involved in that birthing, in that beginning. You know how enthusiastic we are at the beginning of something new. There's energy and vitality. That's why Aries is so energetic. And they have incredible powers of recovery. I know so many Aries people who really get sick, and if they do, like, they're over it in 2 or 3 days, they're up and they're off again. They just burn through things so quickly.
Before we sort of get off, I want to go back to what you were saying before about the path of the eclipse.
Yeah.
I want to bring this up because I'm sure other people have been taking notice of it, and I actually made a comment on one of your posts too about the unusual nature of it, in that it's falling through all these towns called Nineveh. And I'm thinking, my goodness, no wonder it's got the religious group's attention. There's actually 7 in the US, and I think there's actually one place called Nineveh in Canada as it goes through the tip. So there's actually 8 towns. And the other thing that people might be hearing is that the 2017 eclipse path, the way it went where they cross, this upcoming one and the one from 2017, where they paths cross is a place called Rapture, or it's a nearby town called Rapture. It's not right on the point. So I can see why religious groups are really paying very close attention to.
That's right. and that 2017 eclipse pathway, which crosses over this current one, this passed through 7 towns called Salem in North America. And I've been hearing different people speak of this. And what's very interesting is the different interpretations of the meanings of the word Salem and Nineveh. So there's so many different ways to look at things. And some are seeing that in an extremely positive way, and some are seeing it in a very dark and problematic way.
Yeah, because I think Salem means peace, doesn't it?
It does, that's right.
Yeah.
Jerusalem.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And Salem, it means peace. So yeah, there's so many so much esoteric symbolism around this. So it is, and of course, eclipses, when they occur, yes, things happen. Many souls depart this world. Leaders topple, countries topple, wars break out, big events often happen. Also, significant people are born. Various people historically in royal families and so on often get born on eclipses. Some say that's actually managed. Yeah, so eclipses have a long, complex history of meaning and interpretation and so on. They are significant events. And it's also, I think, helpful to understand that it's related to both the sun and the moon, which we often refer to as the two lights or the luminaries in the sky. Very important bodies. And that the light goes out. So if the outer sunlight is going out, and again, we could spend an hour talking about that, it doesn't mean the inner sun. Are we connected to the inner sun, which I think is another good reason to be connecting inwardly and keeping our attention here, because I think eclipses are a great opportunity to catalyze a leap forward. And this particular eclipse seems to have all the hallmarks of that. And the other thing that I find really fascinating about it, this eclipse is at 19 degrees and 24 minutes of Aries. Chiron is at 19 degrees and 24 minutes of Aries.
I was just going to say that.
It is exactly to the minute on this eclipse.
Yeah.
Which I think, so I see that in two ways. One is that Chiron impacts this eclipse, but this eclipse is also impacting Chiron. And I feel that this is going to be very important for the chironic process of the deep healing of the collective woundedness of the human race.
Yes.
And the importance of Chiron, which I've always regarded as extremely important anyway. I really love Chiron. Chiron is such an important energy and an archetype. It was only discovered in 1977 in November, and its discovery really brought that energy through and made that energy really available, as a bringer of new information from the universe to Earth for healing. He carries great medicine. He carries great medicine. And in Aries, we're talking about healing of the wounds of war, the wounded masculine, our fear of standing up and speaking truth and taking good action, and not lying down and just taking what they throw at us,
yeah, I think
heals.
Chiron's desire for healing is certainly playing a part. And I think around what's been going on in the Middle East and with Russia and China and the US and all sorts of different things happening there, I think the hope is that Chiron will temper that and bring some healings and bring some peacefulness. But also, I think too, we have to remember that Chiron, mythologically, when he was born, he was rejected, because he was half man, half horse. And so with rejection comes this sense of isolation, and with humanity, it's like, who am I? Like a loss of identity, not fitting in anywhere, those sorts of things. And so there's a lot, and a lot of that, we've all gone through that, a lot of that over the last few years in so many different ways with so many different groups of people. And humanity's been at war with humanity, really.
Yeah.
And I think there's some healing that we're hoping that Chiron will bring to that, or maybe it will.
And I think absolutely. And healing with Chiron has got a lot to do with awareness, becoming aware of the wound and really seeing and addressing the wound, and and not ignoring it any longer. I had an experience just a couple of days ago of this about something in myself. It's like something broke through, and I kind of claimed and owned something in myself that I always knew was there, but I hadn't fully embraced it, just a quality in myself that when it came through and I declared it and claimed it, I knew 100% absolutely that it was true, and it changed something for me really significantly. And it's around Aries, because I have a planet in Aries. And so I've had my own experience of the power of this, you know, and I think for many of us, we've been afraid of our own firepower, of our own courage and inner warrior spirit. And man or woman, you know, particularly for women. In my work as an astrologer, I see this a lot for women with Chiron and Aries, this kind of wounded sense of just being very afraid of, uncomfortable with, you know, anger, their own power, their fire, you know, that kind of thing. And the impact that can have in their life, you know, and it can result in things like, you know, depression and confusion and feeling helpless in the face of this onslaught. And yeah, so there's so much stuff around all of that. I think that this eclipse can really be a powerful catalytic point, a moment, you know, such an intense moment, a moment where something can really shift and break through and be revealed and understood, because this is a north node eclipse, as you know, it's conjunct the north node, not the south node. So it's really about waking up that Aries energy. And I know a lot of people don't like Aries energy, particularly a lot of women. It's always seen as violent and aggressive and angry and just takes over I understand that, but there's such a beautiful quality in a pure Aries energy that is just pure fire. And fire is such a healing, transformative energy, isn't it? You know, as an element, you know.
It's transmutation.
Absolutely. And so cleansing. And, you know, all the fire rituals that people do, and to burn something away. I think if we think of it like that and work with it like that, there's so much going on in Aries. Venus, Hygeia, the goddess of healing. So not only Chiron, the healer, but Hygeia is the north node, the sun, the moon, which is the eclipse, Chiron, retrograde Mercury, Eris. That's a hell of a gang going on in the sign of Aries. It's like, pick up your weapons, folks. And when I say weapon, I don't mean go out there and start slaughtering people. That's not what I'm saying. It's like, what is, if you were a warrior of the light, what would it be? What is the tool? You know, is it what you need to say? Is it some action you need to take? Is it a quality that, you know, you might need to bring through in yourself that you've been holding back or a bit fearful of, or worried about what people will think, you know? I think these are some of the qualities that is being called up, particularly for anyone who has things in Aries in their chart that they're a bit tentative about. You know, this is a time when that can really get activated, put a bit of firepower in there. And because I'm personally of the strong feeling and belief that the world needs it. You know, people need to find some of that fiery courage to do what's coming at us, you know.
Be heroes and heroines.
Exactly. In whatever way. And that the way that will play out will be very different for everyone. Everyone's got a different path and expression. And not everyone has planets in Aries in their chart, but Aries is somewhere in their chart.
Yeah, but it's about leading by example, isn't it? That's what heroes and heroines do. And I'm talking about real heroes and heroines.
That's right.
You know, and it might just be something, well, not something mundane, but something more simple, not on the world stage, but in our lives, where someone's being bullied and you step in and you say, no, that's not going to happen.
And perhaps in the past, you might not have done that. You might have held back or walked away.
Yes,
And
exactly.
suddenly it's going, "Yeah, I'm not having that anymore."
Yeah, or a male is treating as someone else, or or a female, I don't know, because women have this Aries energy too, but someone treating people in a way that is disrespectful and you know, could be dangerous as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
and stepping in and saying, I'm sorry, but no, that's not going to happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot to do with courage.
Mm.
And but I think it's really important that we also acknowledge the other side of Aries, which is about violence and war and
Mm.
destruction and an anger that's not clean, an anger that's destructive. I have great respect for what I call clean, pure anger.
Mm.
Sometimes that is absolutely what is required
Mm.
to change a situation that needs changing. But there's also, an anger and a fury that's can be very dark and destructive, which is expressed in all these horrendous, hideous, revolting wars that are going on in the planet.
Yeah. I'm reminded of an experience I had some years ago where I actually stood up and told someone off because, I'll get sick of people pushing in line at checkouts, and this person came along and pushed in, and I just said simply, excuse me, but of course that's because they opened up another checkout. Excuse me, but these people in front of me were way before you. And I don't know, I wouldn't ordinarily say that, but it was one of those moments where my brain broke and I spoke up, and I said it as loudly as anything. And
Good.
it was all I said to the woman. And for the rest of the time I was standing in line, I was abused. I was told what a terrible person I was for speaking to her like that. And I'm thinking all the time, man, that's a pot calling the kettle black, being disrespectful, of these other
Wow.
people. It wasn't even about me, it was about these other people.
That's right.
This is that energy that just exploded. And I thought, no, I'm not having that. I'm drawing the line here. That's bad manners.
Exactly. And that's going to come up for us. The other thing that will be, I mean, it's not just the eclipse, it's everything else in Aries during this whole period. We're going to see people getting triggered. There will be some explosions going. I mean, there will be actually explosions going on around the planet. Likely to be some pretty massive eruptions that there already are. There was a small one in New Jersey apparently last night, which is quite unusual. So we're going to see, earth movements,
Yeah.
bombs, explosions, all these things that will be part of the expression of Aries.
Yeah, I think there was an earthquake in New York.
Right.
Yeah, just like hours ago. So, and we're recording this on the 6th. So yeah.
Yes. And people losing their cool, road, you're going to see stuff like that. So, it's one of the reasons I think I'll just kind of stay quietly at home. I've crossed that day out of my diary. I have no appointments. And it's not out of fear. It's just I want to really honor
Yes.
this important moment and this time, and give it some space so that I can experience it
Yeah.
and connect and give it a bit of respect. I think it
Yeah.
deserves some respect, actually. This is
Yeah. I agree. And while we're on Aries, I just wanted to point out too that because I've been looking at my trusty medical astrology book by Jane Ritter Patrick.
excellent.
It's a very good book, actually,
She's
isn't it?
great. She's Scottish. She came and did a whole day workshop at one of the astrology conferences down in Melbourne many years ago. I really liked her. I've always liked her work. And it's
Yeah.
great to meet her.
So that Aries and the health problems with Aries can be things like migraines and fevers, accidents, boats running into bridges. Adrenal functions can become exhausted, stress-related immune disorders and conditions requiring surgery. And I
That's
remember another astrologer friend has always said to me, I think you pointed out too, Babul, about, if you can move the surgery around to a different time where Mars is not active and that sort of thing, and no hard aspect in that. Yeah.
that's right. That's right. And obviously with emergency surgery, you just do what you have to do. But when there's some choice, yeah.
Mm.
Um, yes, and like even just getting headaches, because Aries is the head, just can feel like a lot of pressure and tension in the head. And I have experienced this a number of times in my life. If I've had a real build-up of tension and there might be a real pressure headache, I have found that what occurs to me is that I need to release the pressure. And often I need to let out some anger. And if I'm in an area or a space where I can do that and actually make some noise and just really let it rip, it's amazing how that releases the pressure and the headache. A couple of times. It's like magic. It's just the headache's gone.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that if I had a migraine. It would actually work the opposite for me, but some people it might.
Well, just a strong headache. It wasn't a migraine, but a really strong, intense headache, coming from my neck.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so all of these things can be part of what we might be experiencing. So maybe if we go through just one by one some of the dates, follow, because there's a lot, like it's just like day after day after day, there's this sequence. So on April the 5th, so for us recording today, that was yesterday, Venus moved into Aries, and she, of course, is the feminine principle of love, the goddess energy. And when she's in Aries, she'll be there for 3 weeks. It brings a more of a feisty quality to the feminine. But I think that can be really helpful at this time for women who are often a bit kind of holding back around Aries energy, and they can find it unpleasant because of what women have so often experienced from the domination of the masculine on this planet for so long. So can we bring a bit of courage to the feminine now with Venus in Aries? But I think Venus will also hopefully help to bring a bit of heart energy and softness into the fire.
Or she can become a bit raunchy too.
Yeah, she is. Like for a young woman with Venus in Aries, she's a real party girl. She's out there just going for it and having experiences and adventures because she just is compelled to do that.
Yeah.
And then the eclipse, of course, on the 9th at 19 degrees with the exact conjunction to Chiron. On the 11th, and it's worth pointing out that, and many will be already aware of this, that this is the chart of the actual eclipse at 90 degrees, but up here we have Mars. It's been in Pisces now for some weeks, has been making its way towards Saturn, and there will be an exact conjunction of them both on the 11th, so it's 2 days after the eclipse at 40 degrees of Pisces. So there's a lot happening in the sign of Pisces as well with this conjunction.
Yeah, can I just comment on that? Because I find for me it's been a balance of intuition or action. Like should I do this? No, my gut says do that. That sort of
Yes.
So it's been a real balance of that with the Piscean energy.
Yes, yes. It's so interesting, these two signs that sit next to each other, which are so different. And Pisces, is the last sign. It's the end of the zodiac. And it represents that process of releasing and emptying out and clearing and cleansing and tuning in a very, very subtle way, it's where we experience what you're saying, intuition and just knowing, I don't know why, I just know I need to go that way.
Well, Mars wants us to act in a certain way, but the Piscean energy says, well, let's use intuition to do this instead.
Yeah. And, Mars and Saturn are not two of the easiest planets in the solar system, known traditionally as malefics, meaning that they can be sort of troublemakers in inverted commas, Mars being the ruler of Aries, the god of war and so on, and Saturn representing the energies of control. But we can also look at them in a very positive light. When they come together, they can offer an opportunity to really harness our intuitive knowing and energies and be really constructive with it. Like it's very artistic and creative in whatever field they happen to be, they might become very productive during this period. Like the muse might be working with them very, very strongly. And they could be, you know, producing some extraordinary work during this time. But there might also be some emotional challenges going on in our life, in our family, in our relationships, or, you know, things like that happening.
When in Pisces though, those two in Pisces, there's sort of like a softening there though, isn't there, with compassion, you know, that's
Yes.
you know, Saturn can be very harsh and
Yes.
Mars can be very selfish.
Yes.
So, but says maybe the compassion might seep in a little bit. We can only hope.
Yes. And I think you raise a really great point, because another positive way to work with Mars and Saturn in Pisces can be somebody might have been thinking for ages of, oh, look, I feel like I want to get involved in a charity and help people, and just, I've got time now, I might be retired. But my Cancerian sister has just done this recently. She got a lot of planets in Cancer, and she's just signed up to volunteer with one of the food charities. What the big one? I can't remember what it's called right now. That big one that was set up by this amazing woman some years ago. And she's doing a couple of days a week working with this charity where they collect food, restaurants and all these places, and then bring it into these big kitchens and cook it up and make meals, free meals for people.
That's great, isn't it?
It's so fantastic.
Yeah.
I wish I could name it, but it's a big organization now. This woman's created this. I think she started it in Brisbane, and now it's Australia-wide. It's fantastic.
That's an amazing expression of that, of Mars and Saturn in Pisces. It's like Mars is let's get to it, let's action.
That's
And
right.
Saturn is being very practical, you know,
And very organized.
very organized, yeah. And then in Pisces, it's just like this, with compassion.
Absolutely, with
Helping.
compassion to help people. Exactly.
Amazing.
So I'm glad you said that, because I just saw that, you know, as you were speaking of it, that's a way that energy can really manifest, like using that energy for a really good purpose, you know, to really be of service, which in the end is what Pisces is all about.
Well, are you going to say more about that, or?
No, I was going to move on to the next one, but go on.
I wanted to interject again from the medical astrology book.
Good. I love it.
I'm in a real medical phase today.
I love medical astrology.
But Jane Ritter Patrick says that on a physical health level, a Mars and Saturn conjunction refers to the process of bone and red cell formation. And the classic manifestation of the hard aspect of this is arthritis. And she also says there can be bone malformations or inflammation of the bones, anemia or paralysis of the muscles of breathing, which I was very surprised. But also, in a nutshell, basically, inflammation, stiffness, also linked to gallstones, which makes sense. But in Pisces, I'm thinking it could lead to kidney stones too.
Well, Pisces is the immune system.
Oh, okay.
And
it's still watery.
Yes. So there could be, you see, there could be around this conjunction perhaps a health issue that's been kind of building up for some time, and it really makes its presence felt.
Yeah.
And you know, like I've had a few injuries late, and it's really galvanized me to get back to exercising, which I'm doing. And I'm about, see, on Monday, the day before the eclipse, I'm about to have, for the first time in my entire life, an assessment session with an exercise physiologist.
Ah, interesting.
You know, so my osteopath has put me onto this woman. She said, okay, now your body's ready. And because my motivation was, I need to get fit and strong. So see, these kind of planetary alignments can galvanize and catalyze us to go, okay, enough of this. I can't keep doing it like this. I can't go on like this. I need to take action. I need to, and it's all the Aries energy as well.
Yeah.
My suggestion, and I've been hearing a lot of people saying, yes, I'm getting back into exercise. I need to exercise. My recommendation is absolutely great time don't overdo it. Don't push beyond your capacity. Just because I'm definitely going to go slow and just slowly build up, being my age and so on.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Mm.
because in Aries, and I've seen this for years, when there's things going on in Aries, one way to release the hot-blooded, fiery energy of it is to move the body. If you're a gym person, go down to the gym and just pump that iron and move it. Go for a long walk, go running, go dancing if that's your thing. Move the body and release the energy. And then you see that can go a long way to preventing us from building up in an explosion of anger and fury.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. Move it through the body, through the muscles and the blood, get the blood moving.
Yeah.
See how it all fits together. It's amazing.
It is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. And then on the 12th, see, then there's all the sequence, because there's so many planets moving through Aries, and you see what's happening with our lovely little friend Mercury down here. Slowly, in all the different speeds, the planets are moving forward through the sign, but Mercury's moving backwards. But as they're coming through, he's going to meet up with Chiron. He'll meet up with the Sun. He'll meet up with the North Node. He'll meet up with, and so he's going that way.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a sequence. So on the 11th, Mars conjunct Saturn. On the 12th, the Sun is conjunct with retrograde Mercury at 22 of Aries. On the 14th, the Sun will be conjunct Eris, Eris, the goddess of discord and rebellion, and she demands that everybody have a seat at the table and be included, or she's going to have something to say about it. And then, and on the 16th, retrograde Mercury is on Chiron. I mean, the whole period, all these planets are together. I'm just giving the precise date when these things become exact. On the 18th, Venus is conjunct the North Node in Aries. On the 19th, retrograde Mercury is with Venus in Aries. And then the Sun leaves Aries and goes into Taurus. And suddenly there will be, at least with the Sun, which is important, there will be a kind of, sort of a bit of a calming and a dropping and a slowing down of some of this very fiery energy. But the following day, on the 21st, the conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus, which is already in place and actually started to really begin to form around mid to late March, is exact on the 21st at 21 degrees and 49 minutes of Taurus. So, this is why April's such a pivotal, important month. There's a number of big things happening, and these conjunctions of Jupiter and Uranus only occur every 14 years. The last one was in late Pisces.
So in Taurus, we can have shaky ground.
Ground can move.
Yeah.
It's like, did the earth move? Well, yes.
And so shifting sand in the desert, nothing's stable.
Yeah. And, impacting. I mean, I have not at all studied Bitcoin, but I kind of follow it very loosely, but because I don't really understand it, I never would claim to be an expert by any means. I keep telling myself one day I'll take a week off and study it so I can understand it, and I probably won't, but that's a thought. But I have been told that on that date there is, and some people watching this will know exactly what this means, so please, I really don't know, there is an important event happening in the world of Bitcoin called halving. And that will have a huge impact. So, and I have been told it's a good thing, a positive thing. And it only happens every so many years or something in the world of Bitcoin. Now, I honestly have no clue what that means.
I don't
astrologer in me was alerted that this important event in the world of cryptocurrency, Taurus, and Uranus in Taurus, right, is going to occur on that date. And I just went, what? So these are the kind of things, yeah, so that's another, and you see the sun will have just moved into Taurus the day before. So the sun will be sitting at 0, 1 degrees of Taurus while this very important eclipse and these, conjunction, these are conjunctions when we look back historically every 14 years at these conjunctions of Jupiter, the quest, the search for higher truth and higher knowledge and higher meaning. Uranus, higher consciousness, breakthroughs, revolutions. These two planets represent knowledge and consciousness that is beyond the normal or beyond what we already know. And these conjunctions that occur every 14 years are the birth of a new cycle, a new accelerated cycle of a whole other level of consciousness. It's like there's a kind of a leap, a bit of a quantum leap.
Yeah. Well, with Uranus, that would be true, definitely.
Yeah, and new movements. If you look back through time, new movements are birthed at these conjunctions, and in the subsequent years, you see that kind of develop and bloom and blossom.
So in Taurus, that's farming, food, money. What else does it cover?
Yeah, absolutely. Those things, everything to do with banking and finances and money and farming and land and the production of food, the supply of food.
And stability. I mean, Taurus is very stable, it's become quite unstable with Jupiter magnifying that unexpected Uranus energy.
That's right. So, when two planets come together like this, and there are a lot of conjunctions going on during this whole period, but this is the biggie.
Yeah.
Those two energies, whatever they represent individually, they come together and join forces.
Yeah.
It's like a marriage, two individuals come together in marriage, and they're still who they are. But now there's an alchemy, something else happens, doesn't there, in that combining of those two people?
Yeah.
Something else happens. So, yes, it's all pretty extraordinary. There's also on that same day a conjunction of Venus with Chiron in Aries. So there's just such a gathering and such a mix with all these different energies moving through this period in this very focused area. On the 25th, Mercury turns direct. So again, that's another moment of, I always personally find when Mercury turns direct, I definitely have a feeling of, oh, that feels better.
It's still going to go over all those conjunctural, a lot of other planets.
That's right. So he
goes through it all again.
Exactly. So, so here he is, he's turning back and he's going to go through and he's going to meet up. He's going to be then at 16 degrees and then he'll come through again.
Yeah.
So that's what he does. He's like, okay, let's have another look. And Mercury retrograde in Aries can also be another piece of this theme of, am I really saying what I really want to say? Or am I saying too much? Or when I speak, do I come out too forcefully in a way people can't receive? Or am I holding back on what I need to say? This is all about how do we speak, and are we speaking our truth, really? In that fiery, because really speaking truth is a bit of a fire. If we really do speak what we really want to say, that can have repercussions. And maybe that's what needs to happen.
Yes, and remembering that Mercury is the messenger from other realms too.
Exactly.
Other realms sending a message. Come on, people, pull your socks up and get to it.
Right, let's
evolving.
right. Get off your knees. Get off the bed, and we've got things to do.
Yes, humanity has stuff to do. Come on.
That's right. Like, wake up. Let's go.
Oh, dear.
And when Mercury goes direct in Aries on the same day, Venus will be conjunct Eris, also Aries. My notes are a little bit all over the place. Oh, and at the end of April, Mars is now coming to the end of Pisces and will make a conjunction with Neptune in Pisces at the 29th. I always find when there's a planet with Pisces, and especially Mars, which is such a high energy planet, but he's having a bit of a break in Pisces, Mars with Neptune can be a day or two or three when we're just feeling, what the hell happened to all my energy? I had so much energy. That can be a really good period because now Mercury's direct, the conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus has happened. That could be a time, and Venus will have moved into Taurus on that day. I would recommend taking a break for a couple of days, like really having a breather. You know,
what's going on?
it's very big. On May the 1st, then Mars, the ruling planet of Aries, moves into Aries. So it's not over yet. Right?
Well,
I know. So Mars will come into Aries on May the 1st, and we can talk more about that next time. And then May the 3rd, Pluto turns retrograde. So he reaches 2 degrees and 6 minutes of Aquarius and begins the return back. And then looking further ahead, which we'll get to in time, Jupiter will finally leave Taurus, where it will have been for a full 12 months. And we'll move to Gemini, and that's another whole interesting change of energy.
When's the date for the next lunar cycle?
Oh, I didn't write it down here. Sorry about that. I haven't actually got it here. I usually put it in.
I might have it
in my notes, and I don't have the printout with me. No.
24th of April. I think that's Moon in Scorpio.
That sounds sounds right.
I've got to remember to put the dot in my circle if it's the sun and just leave it empty if it's the moon.
Exactly.
I'm getting used to all the glyphs.
That's right. That's right. So that will be the full moon. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The sun will be in Taurus, so the full moon will be in Scorpio, which is a very important full moon in the Buddhist world. It's the Wesak Buddha full moon. So big times.
Interesting. Well, that's a lot, Willa, and I'm chock full of that info. I'm gonna have to watch this again.
And again, like some people love that fiery energy, some people find it really
draining,
unpleasant, too much, too much. And other people just go, yes, I feel really alive.
Yes,
but it can bring us alive, and I really invite that, to let it ignite some flames and of energy and vitality and courage. And
very interesting. Well, thank you so much for all that information, as usual. It's very comprehensive, this one.
Yes, there's a lot in it.
They all are anyway, but yeah, this has got a lot in it. So
sometimes we get a little bit of a lull, but
yes,
not many.
Not a lot. There have been a few months, but not many.
Yeah.
Yes, we're still on the cosmic rack, that's for sure.
Yes, we are.
Because we've still got Pluto in Aquarius.
That's right.
Yes. So, well, thank you, Babula, and thank you to everyone for watching. And remember to give it a like if you enjoyed it. Leave comments. Always happy for you to leave comments and share it around. This is a big one, so I'll be interested to see how many views that it gets because people are very, very interested in this.
Yes.
This lunation, shall we say, this lunar cycle. Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And we will see you again very, very soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.